Hello, it is Foundation Friday, June 7th, 2019. Steve Sipress here. If you've been watching me for the last few hours, this is take, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, whatever it is. I usually have incredibly bad internet, even here in my own house. But today it's especially bad, and so I think it's even after 9 o'clock at night here on a Friday, and here I am still working on getting my daily Facebook Live video posted. Which I have done for over 2 years, 820 or so episodes. So let's get through this here. Let's see if we can. Keeps locking up on me and internet going out. But it's an important post. And before I forget, by the way, anyone that wants help from me with anything I discuss in any of my videos, but this is a real important one today here on Foundation Friday, you want to head over to helpfromsteve.com. That's where you get my one-on-one help. Anyway. That's kind of the point. Today's video, usually for inspiration for my daily videos, they come from speaking to my clients about their businesses or to virtual strangers. Although I treat them all as friends, if not family, business owners all around the world that contact me for my help by going to helpfromsteve.com. And I don't know, some weeks I do less, some weeks I do more. I'll do 20, 30, 40, 50 of these free calls a week, depending on how many I feel like doing. I love doing them, and then love helping business owners to, buck the tide, out of the box thinking. By definition, it's out of the box because everyone knows that 90% of business owners, or all the reports say that 90% of businesses go out of business in the first 5 years, and half of them go out of business in a year. So, of course, by definition, anything that works is an out-of-the-box strategy. Oh, it's abnormal, it's strange, it's different than all the BS that you hear, whether you're reading a book or attending a seminar or watching videos online or, God forbid, talking to local people, your fellow, you don't know it, but your fellow struggling, about to go out of business, local business owners at a local networking meeting or a leads meeting or a chamber meeting or any of that nonsense. You really got to find someone who knows what they're doing, and I've got a track record of tens of thousands of businesses and going back decades of helping people break out of the norm, put out of the box, in other words, strategies that work, into place and succeed wildly. And so I share, very little bit of that here right up on the surface, especially here on Foundation Friday with my daily videos, but anyone that goes to helpfromsteve.com, if you're serious about getting help and sustaining a business for the long haul and making a lot of money along the way, having a lot of fun and having a lot less stress in your life, then you want to go over there. And that's why I help people buck the tide and think out of the box. Step by step, we go through exactly what it's going to take to solve a problem or overcome an obstacle or reach a goal or whatever it is in your business. And in this case, I didn't get inspiration for today's video from speaking to a client about their business or speaking to a business owner somewhere around the world about their business. This one, for better or worse, came out of frustration of talking to the higher-ups, the powers that be in a business that I have been invited to take over part of their business. It's really in my wheelhouse. Perhaps what I'm most known for around the world is being number one in the world, number one expert on building a membership group with live in-person meetings, seminars, events. So I've helped a heck of a lot of business owners do that, and I've done it for myself over and over, and been the most successful among the national chapters or groups of different companies, and I've been courted over the years over and over and over. Please help us with our chapters around the world or our whole system, or please take it over, or please do something. It's floundering. We know it could work. It'd be great for our business, blah, 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 blah. Here's one that I agreed to take over. Now, this business is one of the best of its kind, if not the best, and it's been around for decades, and it's just, I couldn't have more love and respect for the owners, the people that are running this business and what they've done to help business owners over the years, because that's what they do. But their chapter program is really struggling, and so I agreed to turn it around. This ought to be a multiple seven-figure opportunity, if not 8 figures, as it grows. But I'm getting a lot of pushback because, again, My ideas are successful and they work. Therefore, they're strange and out of the box and different. And that's not the way we've always done it. And like, no kidding, why do you think you're asking me to come in? So, had another one of those frustrating conversations today. We're looking to launch a chapter right here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and getting a lot of pushback on what I need to succeed in it. And even right down to, well, I say, I need this, and they're like, well, you don't need that because no one else has ever done it that way in our business and in our company. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. I think it's failing miserably, or even if it's just surviving and just doing okay, why do you think? Because no one ever done probably 1/100th of the stuff I'm going to do, which all works. And I was like, nobody in my world would actually do it without any of the stuff I'm talking about. So, if you're dealing with people who are on the same wavelength, someone that would watch all my videos, for instance, or talking to me, we understand this stuff. But if you're talking to anyone that doesn't watch all my videos or even a tenth of them, or study the stuff I study, or talk to the people I talk to that successfully build businesses very quickly, they're very lucrative, they are not a lot of stress, they're a joy to build and not a chore. In my world, I talk to those people, I pretty much insulate myself hanging out with only those people, again, other than when I do a call, but I keep those short. We'll do 20 minutes or so on the phone with somebody, and then I gotta a lot of times clear my head and get back to talking to people in my world who do these out of the box strategies that work wildly, or just implement them in my own business or in one of my clients' businesses, so I can get back to my reality, which is wildly successful businesses. Again, it's totally against the norm, right? So here's the thing. It really comes down to pretty much two different schools of thought on starting a business. Because even though I'm not starting this, I am launching this local chapter of this business. I'm about to launch it. And as I put in the title, I use that word in the title of this video, launch, because that's really the secret to getting off to a fast, easy, fun start where you make big money, is to do what's known as, or what I call, a launch. And that's a phrase that's used throughout the business world, as opposed to the common way to build a business is, hey, let's just get it started. I got a couple of friends, I can do plumbing for them, and then word of mouth will spread, and I'll place a couple of ads, and slowly it'll build, and then I'll start hiring some people, and hopefully it builds over time, and let's just get it started, and then we'll build it from there. That's one school of thought. That's a school of thought I'm running up against. Let's just get it started. Just get it out there. Just throw it together, and then, over time you work real hard, and you start doing a lot of things that'll build. I come from the other school. Easy, powerful, fun, big money. Much more sustainable, much more successful, much less risk, is to, although it's a heck of a lot more time, money, and effort in the beginning, is to pull out all the stops and do a tremendous launch. Otherwise known as, another word for it is a grand opening. So I've done these over the years. If you haven't heard the phrase launch, you've certainly heard the phrase, well, you've heard it with a rocket ship, but you've certainly heard the phrase in business, grand opening. That's where you're opening a new location or a new business, just the only location of a new business or the first location, and you pull out all the stops and you have a grand opening. I've done these over the years, and again, just a fantastic, the best way to start a business. Of course, there's a ton of time, money, and effort in the beginning. You got to pull all kinds of things together as you pull out all the stops. I've done this for brick and mortar businesses, from professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, chiropractors, dentists, whatever, to retail, restaurants, car dealerships. We'll do a grand opening. We will pack the place, have an all-out party to introduce the business or the new location of the business to the community, and we will get, even the mayor to come over there and the local press to cover it, and we just pull out all the stops. We are just off to a roaring start, which is where the term launch comes from. When you launch a rocket ship, which is what a successful business ought to be, if you ask me, it's what I'm talking about, a rocket ship of a business. It's going to go sky high, and it's going to go quickly and powerfully. As opposed to a business, I guess, would be a Yugo, just driving along on the ground hoping you make it. I'd rather get involved with a rocket that's really going places. And a rocket, when a launch, it's like you do a big countdown, and all the time and money and effort and training and hundreds of people putting everything together and counting down 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, oh my goodness, there's a massive burst of energy. There is, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or however many pounds of fuel is all engaged in liftoff. And if you watched any of these, as a kid, they all were so rare back in the day in the 60s and 70s that every single one of them was nationally televised, of the Apollo and the Gemini and all that and going to the moon. The rocket it has liftoff, it has ignition, and it seems to not even move off the tower. It moves very slowly in the beginning, but all that smoke and fire and flames, and it's just spewing out as likely for miles. I mean, just going everywhere. And that rocket seems to be going kind of slow, but then suddenly, boom, and it's up into the heavens. And so that's what you want to think of when you're launching a business. You want to launch it like a rocket. You want to put all your time, money, and energy into this thing so much that it is off to that roaring start. So, one industry besides the grand opening you'll see in brick and mortar businesses, retail and whatever, is you'll see this in the perhaps the industry that gets it right most of all is the film industry, movie industry in Hollywood or wherever else they make movies around the world. It's every movie, the top blockbusters, it's a whole big launch that's done. So they don't just say, let's put out the movie and let's just get it out there, and then hopefully the word will spread, and then maybe people will talk about it, and nowadays with social media maybe they'll talk about it, and so our first weekend we'll do 10 million, and then maybe the second weekend or the third weekend we'll do 20, and then 30 and 40 and 50, and we can hopefully get this thing going and build it to where eventually we can do $1 billion and be the biggest blockbuster ever. No, of course not. It's the exact opposite of how the entire industry works, and the entire opposite of how I work when I launch a business. I do a launch. So that's what the movie industry does. You know it. If you haven't paid that much attention, I'm going to open your eyes to it, but you will see, depending on how big the movie is and how much money they have into it, you will see a launch. You will see days, weeks, months before sometimes. Billboards start appearing, trailers appear online, the buzz starts going, the website is put up, see X the movie. Now word starts spreading around. Now as it nears the opening day, the premiere, the big launch of this movie, and always in America on a Friday night, so that you're leading into the weekend when people can go to the movies, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you have that big opening, that launch, the big opening that's going to sustain this thing and drive it to massive success. But you got to pull out all the stops. In the week or two leading up to that premiere, that Friday night, you've got all the actors and the directors and whoever is well known and well spoken will go around and make the tour to all the talk shows and get interviewed everywhere in the late night and the daytime and the this and that and whatever, and they're getting the word out, and all the tweeting will happen, and the Facebook and the Instagram and the YouTube and the trailers going around, the buzz is getting on, all the ads on TV are ramping up like crazy to launch this thing, to get it off to a big start. Now here's the thing, you may not have noticed this. I had a job back when I was in college, and I worked my way through college as a temp worker, an office worker in various businesses. And one of which I worked in the headquarters of a national chain of movie theaters back when I was, 19, 20-year-old kid. And I saw this because my job, there weren't, no internet back then. There weren't a lot of computers back then. So we were doing all this by hand, but we would get all the figures on a Monday of all the ads that were running all over the country and all the newspapers and all the everything. And our job in this little area, there's a few of us, our job was to notate all the spending on all the ads and where it was, and to file all these papers, all these slips that would come in from all over the place. And I noticed, look at that. All of these advertising dollars, pretty much, again, depending on if it's a big blockbuster, maybe it goes on a little more, but otherwise it all stops opening weekend. They ramp up and they launch with an incredible storm, like picture that rocket ship on the what do they call it? The launching pad. It's even a launching pad where all that burning of fuel, that time, money, energy is all burning up right at the start. By the time that thing gets up into the heavens, it's just coasting all around the world. It's going faster and further than it ever did with the rocket fuel. But you need all that rocket fuel to get it going. And that, to me, is how you launch a successful business the same way. You do all the work to get it going. And then watch it just go. You couldn't even stop it if you want to. And that's how I saw in this movie industry, that's how it was. They did an unbelievable amount of advertising in TV and radio and newspaper, full-page ads and back in the day and all that stuff. But then when it hit opening weekend, it all stopped. Go on to the next one. And then they let the word of mouth take over. Nowadays with social media, absolutely that happens. They will ramp right up until opening weekend, and then, and it might, come in opening Friday, and then now playing, but after like 2-3 days of now playing, that's it. Again, unless it's a major blockbuster. Another exception is around Oscar time. So if a film hasn't been out, it's been out for a few months, and there's been no advertising or marketing or anything about it for months, but now it wins an Academy Award, well, do a few ads again. Let's a relaunch. Let's quickly, massively, powerfully get that buzz out there, because once, now especially with social media, once that opening weekend happens, if it's a big opening weekend, nowadays, I don't know, what's a blockbuster do? 50 million, 100 million, 300 million, some of these in an opening weekend. Guess what happens? Well, if you pay attention to the news, every news station around the country is talking about it. It's all over social media. Oh, the record is set. Oh, it's the biggest blockbuster of the summer, or it's the biggest one in weeks or months, or this or that or whatever, or holy moly, they did this amount of what's your thinking? What do you think is people's thinking when it set a record, it did this much, blah, blah, blah. Of course the thinking is, wow, I got to see it. Wow, must be good. Wow, I don't want to miss out. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to see it, or this must be great if it did so much. And then the producers of the movie, the marketing team, does not have to spend any more money. Those actors and directors do not have to go make any more circuits. They don't have to get out there and talk and show the clip and tell a few dumb jokes and do whatever. And they hate all that stuff. They can go right back into their mansions and hang out and cash their $10-20 million checks from the movie, because they got to do everything up to the premiere, including, by the way, the premiere itself, with roll out the red carpet and the whole press is there. Now they got to get all dressed up, and now they're going to make a big deal of it. That's all done for the opening, for the launch. You want to do the same thing with your business if you want to build your business the least risky, most profitable way. You do all that work off the launch, and then it launches. So, for instance, I do it for, let's say I throw a big grand opening party at a dentist, new office for a dentist. We will get 100, 150 people to show up, and we'll have the whole 9 yards, depending on the weather. We'll have a cookout, we'll have clowns and balloons and toys and games, bring all the kids, and we will promote this all over the place. Like I said, we'll have the local mayor show up, all the press will show up, we'll have giveaways and raffles, and we'll give away all kinds of stuff and promote other local businesses. Not like we have to go out and buy flat screen TVs. We go to the local electronics store and they donate a TV. We go to the local whatever and they donate something. We go to a local restaurant and they donate, free dinner, whatever. And we'll have raffle drawings, we'll have giveaways, everyone will get a prize just for showing up. I mean, we'll just pull out all the stops. And then, of course, we're giving tours around the offices, and we're showing off the latest equipment, and they're meeting the staff, which is nice, and they're meeting the dentists, who are all nice and great, and they're seeing all that plaques on the wall and whatever, and all the before and after photos and whatever, and they're, what the heck, yeah. We'll give this dentist a shot, plus we're giving out some discounts to future visits and a free tooth cleaning, a free this and whatever. And we will, get 100, 150, 200 people to show up, and we'll get 40, 50, 60, 80 new patients. Think, understanding the dental industry, I'm not here to talk about the dental industry, but a family of 4, 20 of those, you got 80 clients. So 20 out of 150 people that show up, you can get 20, 30, 40 families, get 40, 60, 80, 100 clients right there, boom, on opening day. And then let the word spread around the school and with social media and around other family. Hey, who do you use for a dentist? And blah. Oh, I love this place. It's great there, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. But, man, that dentist does not have to now do constant work of marketing and sales and advertising. They let that opening blast, that liftoff, that launch propel them. And then the business, when you put the right systems into place, the business basically just keeps growing and growing. That's the less risky way to do it. A lot more work in the beginning. And so that's what I'm attempting to get through See, I use the word try there, and try means fail. Because so far I'm failing to get through to this company that I keep hearing, oh, but nobody else has done it. We don't do it that way. No kidding. That's why you called me in. I do it that way, and I succeed. We pull out all the stops. We have a humongous big launch. We get a heck of a lot of people to attend right in the beginning, and then we let the buzz take over. We do not do it the slow, risky way of like, let's just limp along in the beginning and then hope that somehow this Yugo that's driving along the ground somehow just decides to take off into the stratosphere. That happens once in a while. Unfortunately, 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first 5 years, so it doesn't happen too often. But when you have that big, humongous launch and you do it right, you're giving your business the best chance to have long-term success, not to mention massive success in the beginning. So it's a heck of a lot more fun, a heck of a lot more profitable way to do it. It just takes a lot more time, money, and effort be put in on the front end. So that's the big foundational Friday tip for today. Put in that time, money, and effort in the beginning. Also, you got to take the right steps and do the right things. And there's a heck of a lot of moving parts and all kinds of stuff you should do. And just as importantly, there's a heck of a lot of stuff you shouldn't do. So I know a lot of people, business owners, I hear it all the time, they're afraid to put in the time, money, and effort it takes to do a big grand opening, a big launch type of thing, because there's fear involved if you don't know what you're doing. Well, that's why I'm here. That's why you go over to helpfromsteve.com. I've done this over and over and over the years. I got it down to a science. It works. Does it work 100% of the time? No. Once in a while, something happens. I've even had things happen like the weather gets involved. And suddenly, oh, really? I remember we did a grand opening way back in the early 80s. I'm thinking maybe it was 81 or so. And for crying out loud, it was a Monday night. I remember it well. We had our whole launch building up to this. It was a week-long thing, and then the Monday was the kickoff, and we did all the marketing, promotion, everything. It was from my college radio station. I was the general manager. I ran my college radio station, which also happened to be the largest club on the campus. So I was, even back then, I was a big leader on the campus, and I was always, I did all kinds of out-of-the-box stuff even back then. And very soon after that, started my first, finished school. And before I even finished school, I started what would become my first multi-million-dollar business. But anyway, everything built up to that Monday night, the big launch of this week-long radiothon, we called it, big long event to fund our station for the whole year. And wouldn't you know it, on that Monday night, suddenly, there's no text messaging, there's no emails, there's no internet back then, but I get a call, I don't know, in the afternoon, I think, President Reagan has just been shot. Are you out of your mind? Are you kidding me? Launch wazoosh. So I've been there when all that time, money, and effort, just suddenly all the air is sucked out of the room. Like, do you think people are going to show up to party and have a radiothon? And we had live bands and all kinds of giveaways and things, and all just an amazing thing. And then that Monday, boom, I believe it was Monday. If I'm wrong, someone please let me know. But man, I still remember that. And it's 40 years ago, just about 40 years ago. And so things can happen. You can mess it up. If you don't go to helpfromsteve.com, if you don't call me, your odds of messing it up go through the roof. They go sky high. You get expert help from me. Usually things work pretty well. I've been doing this for decades, and I know what I'm doing. And unless there's some major world-shaking event like that, where everyone's in a bad mood and everyone's staying home and no one's going out and partying, or there's some crazy weather that happens or whatever, this is a strategy that works, and it works a hell of a lot better than anything else you can do. It works more often. It works more spectacularly. And therefore there's a lot less risk, and there's a heck of a lot of risk in running a business, especially when you're doing advertising, marketing, and all that kind of stuff. So I understand the fear, and I understand the uncertainty involved with it, but that's why I'm here, and that's where I offer my help. So especially you've stayed till the end of this video, you're here for a reason. If you're thinking of doing any kind of a launch, and by the way, it doesn't even have to just be a grand opening, it can be a relaunch, it can be our 5th anniversary celebration. Can be the celebration of my daughter's 8th birthday, my dog's 4th birthday, whatever it is. You can put together a whole big deal, and even if you've been around for a while, I've done this over and over, you can launch your business from just hanging in there and then a plateau for years and just triple the business practically overnight. So that's the foundational Friday tip for today. Understand that if you're doing this inside an organization, or like I am, you're taking over this part of an established organization, you're going to get a lot of pushback. More reason than ever to get someone to talk to and to plan with and to get on your site just to talk to. Go to helpfromsteve.com just to talk to me so that I can combat some of that crazy frustration you must be going through, beating your head against the wall trying to explain these things to people when, they don't get it. They'll get it after you do it. But you need buy-in from everybody along the way. You need a lot of support. Again, there's a lot of time, money, and effort put in up front. And so a lot of moving parts to it. I'll help you through all of that if you want. Go to helpfromsteve.com. That'll do it. For Foundation Friday, June 7th, 2019. Looks like we've made it all the way to the end of the video. I forgot. I was thinking of keeping it short because I got cut off all day long. Looks like at this point, even if I get a cut off now, we've made it to the end of Foundation Friday and the end of another, at least for the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, here's the end of the week. I've got, especially with this launch coming up, I got all kinds of things going on all weekend, and I got a couple of client calls we scheduled for the weekend. And so if you're working, you can think of me. I'm getting a heck of a lot of work done, putting in all the time, money, and effort right at the start of this big launch. I'll be reporting back in the near future on the success or the failure of it. And I will be back tomorrow. It's going to be Social Media Saturday. I've got a tip for you to help you make money specifically with social media. So I hope you'll join me then. Wherever you're watching this, on YouTube, my blog, my podcast, my Facebook personal page, I am now, after over 2 years of recording this on my Facebook personal page, I am now recording these every day on my Facebook business page. That's facebook.com/smallbizhelp, small B-I-Z help. Of Facebook. That's the page where you go if you want to come on, get your questions answered, put in your 2 cents, good, bad, indifferent, whatever you want to engage. I will help you out right there on the call, and as always, I'll help you out after when you head over to helpfromsteve.com. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow on Social Media Saturday. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here today. Over and out. Bye-bye.